Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. On Thursday's episode, Drew raised eyebrows with an unclear wager situation that some fans argued host Ken Jennings mishandled. Drew, the first Survivor contestant to ever compete, returned after an utterly shocking first win. He ended Adriana Harmeyer's 15-day winning streak in a stunning upset. Tonight, he faced Jonquil Garrick Reynolds and Bob Longstreth to go for win 2. After the Jeopardy round, he led with $3,600, his opponents $600 and $1,200 in double Jeopardy. Things got sticky. Drew located both daily doubles, gaining $3,000 on one. Then he made an unclear wager on the last one. With a leading score of $13,800, Drew phrased his wager as 12. He did not specify the exact figure he wanted to wager, shortening the dollar amount. Ken intervened and said, for $1,200, assuming that was the figure he wanted to bet. It read, philosopher Jacques Derrida was born in this African country when it was governed by France, but left for Paris in 1949. Drew didn't object and answered the clue correctly as Algeria to have a slightly larger lead. That's my masters. Fans were quick to point out his wager amount could have been $12, $1,200, or $12,000. If he had meant to wager $12,000, he won his previous game of a $10,000 daily double. He would have won the game in a runaway. This discrepancy seemingly prevented himself from a guaranteed victory going into Final Jeopardy. Instead, he had $15,800, Jonquil had $10,400, and Bob had $8,600 going into the final clue. The Othora's Wives clue read, when asked if she was the inspiration for the wife in a 1922 novel, this woman replied no, she was much fatter. No one correctly answered, Nora Joyce, and Drew dropped $6,000 to win with $9,800 for a two-day total of $33,282. Fans flooded Reddit discussing the daily double incident and who was to blame here, as it nearly cost Drew the win. Drew shortening the daily double wager was odd. He probably shouldn't do that anymore, one fan wrote. No kidding. I had a debate with a couple people, and that could have meant $12, $1,200, or $12,000, wrote another. From the hesitation and clue value, I thought $1,200, but with his DD and FG wager yesterday, all three are plausible. He probably meant $12,000 I think, argued a third. I agree, wrote a fourth. It was ambiguous and should be avoided, but if he actually wanted to wager $12,000, don't you think he would have clarified when Ken said $1,200? A fifth blamed production. That's another rule for the show to make. The confusion caused by possibly shortening what he meant, $1,200 or $12,000, is legitimate. A sixth wrote, all I'll say is Drew saying 12 matches up exactly with his portrayal on Survivor. I am really not a fan of him. But others were into it. Not the most satisfying win, and I might be getting ahead of myself here, but I am so excited about this kid. Drew will go for his third win tomorrow night against two new challengers. This comes after Drew dominated his first match against returning champion Adriana, 34, and Tekla Sauter. Adriana, an archivist from West Lafayette, Indiana, was the shoo-in favorite to win her 16th game in a row. So it was quite a shocker when Drew, a Michigan grad student getting a master's at Oxford, snuffed her torch. In the interview segment, Drew got the elephant in the studio out of the way. It's not my first rodeo, Ken. I had the privilege of being on Survivor recently. I lasted 23 days of 26 with no shelter or food, which affected the noggin a little bit, but I'm hoping to be back on course for Jeopardy. Ken asked Drew how they compare. Survivor is hard on the body, but Jeopardy is hard on the mind, so I'll tell you after, he quipped. Ken laughed, shaddily saying Drew was reserving his real feelings. In Double Jeopardy, the tribe has spoken moment came when Drew found the second daily double and fearlessly wagered $10,000. He defeated Adriana in a runaway in the shocker of all shockers, and they awkwardly exchanged a painstaking handshake. As Alex Trebek used to say, we have a giant killer on our hands. Rarely as giant as this. Ken, 50, told Basile. Congrats, Drew, on the big win. Adriana had won nearly $350,000 before she was knocked off the show by Basile, who placed 6th on Survivor 45. Ken pointed out that Harmeyer had the 11th longest winning streak in Jeopardy history before her loss.